There is something you need to hear today. Not tomorrow. Not when everything finally makes sense. Not when life becomes easier. Right now. Because even if you cannot see it, even if your heart is tired from carrying questions that seem to have no answers, something greater is happening behind the scenes of your life. The universe is protecting you. Even now, I know that may be difficult to believe, especially if you're standing in a season that feels confusing, especially if doors have closed in front of you, especially if people you trusted have walked away, especially if the future looks uncertain and the path ahead seems hidden by shadows. But what if the things that broke your heart were not punishments? What if they were protection? What if some of the prayers that went unanswered were actually being answered in a different way? Take a moment and think about your life. Think about the opportunities that disappeared, the relationships that ended, the plans that fell apart despite your effort, the moments that made you question everything. At the time, they felt like losses. You may have cried over them. You may have spent nights wondering why. You may have replayed every detail in your mind, trying to understand what went wrong. Yet here you are, still breathing, still moving forward, still becoming someone stronger than you were before. And maybe, just maybe, some of those endings were not the tragedy you believe they were. Maybe they were a rescue. The truth is that protection rarely looks like protection in the moment. Most of the time, it feels like disappointment. It feels like delay. It feels like rejection. It feels like standing in front of a closed door while wondering why life is being unfair to you. But imagine a child reaching toward a fire without understanding the danger. When a loving hand pulls them away, the child may cry. The child may feel frustrated. The child may think something precious was taken from them. Yet, just because you cannot see the path does not mean the path has disappeared. Just because the next chapter has not revealed itself does not mean your story has stopped moving. There are seasons in life when growth happens underground. Nothing seems to be changing. Nothing seems to be improving. Yet beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing. Wisdom is deepening. Preparation is taking place. The seed buried in darkness often believes it has been forgotten. But the darkness is not its ending. The darkness is where transformation begins. Maybe that is where you are. Not abandoned. Not lost. Not forgotten. Just growing in a place where the results are not visible yet. The universe does not always reveal its plans immediately. Sometimes it asks for trust before understanding. And trust is difficult, especially when your heart is hurting, especially when you have waited longer than you expected, especially when everyone around you seems to be moving forward while you remain in the same place. But your journey is not their journey. Your timing is not their timing. Your path is not their path. The comparison that steals your peace is often based on information you do not have. You are seeing their highlight reel while living your own behind-the-scenes story. You're measuring your progress against circumstances that were never meant for you. The universe is not rushing you because it knows something you do not. It sees the bigger picture. It sees the people you have not met yet. It sees the opportunities that have not arrived yet. It sees the strength you are still building. And it understands that forcing certain things too early would create more harm than good. There is wisdom in timing. There is wisdom in waiting. And there is wisdom in protection. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a shield. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually alignment. Sometimes what feels like being denied is actually. As you sit here listening, there is one more truth that deserves a place in your heart. Protection is not only about what the universe keeps away from you. Sometimes it is about what it is quietly teaching you. When you look back on your life, you may notice that your greatest growth did not come from the easy moments. It did not come from the times when everything went exactly as planned. It came from the challenges that forced you to discover strength you did not know you possessed. It came from uncertainty. It came from loss. It came from the moments that tested your faith in yourself. At the time, those experiences felt heavy. You may have wished them away. You may have asked why they were happening to you. You may have believed that life was being unfair. Yet those same experiences shaped you. They taught you discernment. They taught you patience. They taught you how to recognize your worth. And perhaps most importantly, they taught you that you can survive things you once thought would break you. That is protection too. Because the universe is not only guiding events around you, it is also preparing the person within you. Every challenge carries a lesson. Every delay carries a purpose. Every difficult season leaves behind wisdom if you are willing to receive it. The person you are becoming could not be created through comfort alone. Some lessons require stillness. Some require waiting. Some require letting go. And some require walking through darkness long enough to discover that your own light never disappeared. Think about how many times you underestimated yourself. How many times you thought you could not continue, only to find the strength for one more day. How many times you felt lost, only to eventually find your way. The evidence is already there. You have survived every difficult chapter that once seemed impossible. You have made it through every storm that convinced you it would last forever. You are still here. That matters. There is peace in understanding that you do not have to force life to unfold. You do not have to solve tomorrow today. You do not have to carry every uncertainty on your shoulders. You can trust that some things are working themselves out beyond your awareness. You can trust that not every answer needs to arrive immediately. You can trust that life is still moving even when it feels still. Look at nature. The sun rises without being reminded. The seasons change without being forced. The rivers find their way around obstacles without panic. There is an intelligence woven into existence itself, and you are part of that same existence. You are not separate from it. You belong to it, which means you do not have to constantly fight against the flow of life. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is soften your grip. Take a breath, pause, and remember that you are supported in ways you cannot always see. There may be moments ahead when doubt returns. There may be days when fear speaks loudly. There may be nights when uncertainty feels overwhelming. When those moments come, remind yourself of this simple truth. You do not know the full story yet. You are standing inside a single chapter and trying to judge the entire book. The page you are on is not the final page. The challenge you are facing is not the final chapter. There is more ahead, more healing, more clarity, more growth, more peace. The universe is not finished with your story. In fact, some of the most beautiful parts may still be waiting for you. The friendship that restores your faith. The opportunity that changes your direction. The moment of understanding that suddenly makes the past make sense. The peace you have been searching for. The version of yourself that feels whole again. These things often arrive quietly. Not with grand announcements. Not with dramatic signs. But gradually, gently, like sunlight entering a room at dawn. You may not notice the change.